from the very beginning, him doing these legal battles did not make any sense to me. And like this whole mutual statement offer that he gave Amber is just not a real offer. If you really, really think about it, it doesn't make any sense, because this started off from this newspaper or something describing him as a wife beater, and he calls up Amber and asks for her to help him clear his name. And it's just like, what does he mean by that? What does he want Amber's help for? And I couldn't understand what he would need Amber's help for. I didn't understand this phone call at all. I don't know what is in his mind, if he always did want to go to court or not. There is that message that he sent where he said, "I'm glad she decided to go to court and do it publicly." And that was very confusing to me. Like, it's not a choice. I mean, it was up to him always. If he wanted to go to court, that was always his choice. It was nothing to do with Amber. A mutual statement wasn't necessary. He could have made his own statement without Amber. So I don't know what he called Amber for. It was very confusing to me. He was asking her to end this whole thing like, peaceful, man, peaceful. That's what he said to her. I was like, what do you need to have help for, to get peace? What do you think? What does that mean? What does she need to do? Does she need to lie? Does she need to take the allegation back? Because that's not gonna work. That's if she was a liar, she took the allegation back, then people would really think he was a domestic abuser. Because if someone takes the allegation back after the threat of a lawsuit, then that person looks more guilty, because you threatened them to take it back. And people could see that. Everyone would be able to see that. So it just didn't make sense what he wanted from her. He said that they should make a mutual statement to say that they were going to work things out privately. And again, it doesn't make sense, because he wants her to dispel this idea that he beat her. So he doesn't want this private. He wants her to step up and say that it wasn't true, something like that. That's what he wanted from her. But he didn't say it. He was like lying to her on this phone call. It was such a confusing phone call that he was making. And then I was just thinking that they've already sorted this stuff out. Like, she already gave a statement. She said that she wishes the best for his future. And he said that no one made false accusations, and I thought, and the other thing was that neither of them inflicted the physical or emotional harm or whatever intentionally, which again, all things that I believed. That statement made a lot of sense. That statement was very good. I didn't see the point in fighting back against this newspaper to begin with. It was all fine. So if he wanted to end this whole thing peaceful, man, peaceful, why didn't he just sit back and do nothing? That's how you end this whole thing peaceful. These legal battles don't make any sense, and because of his popularity and his influence, like, it's making this really huge, scary impact, and people are justifying him, like, writing menacing notes in his own blood, and that they say that he's excused from doing drugs and alcohol excessively, because anyone could be driven to that if they have a wife who is annoying as Amber, and then like displacing all the blame on Amber for the way he is, and because she's being annoying, and he's allowed to like joke about like raping her and murdering her. Like, all that stuff makes sense because she's so annoying. Like, all these behaviors suddenly make sense because Amber's an annoying enough person to inspire. It's a strange, it's not the best way to to move forward. I don't understand this. Moving forward, I don't want to be mean to Johnny Depp. Like, I don't think I've been mean to him at all, to be honest. Like, I don't think I've been that mean to him. I've just wondered, like, what's up with him. That's my main question. Is like, is he doing okay? But I don't think I've been mean to him. And I have used the insults that she says to him against him. But I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to, like, call him an old fat man anymore. If it really bothers him, I don't want to do that anymore. And if, like, being, like, coward, baby, what else? Like, if those names, wife beater, if that really he didn't like that word. Like, I don't want to use those kinds of words moving forward, because if it really bugs him, then I don't want to, like, bully him. Like, even if the allegations are true against him, like, it's not necessary to be mean. You know, you don't have to be mean about it. So looking into the allegations against him, it's particularly Australia, the thing that he that they both acknowledge how bad that time was. And I don't think he remembers it, because there is a tape where she tells him that he doesn't remember, and she remembers very well what happened. And she said that he was in a state of psychosis and that he wasn't himself, and she didn't think that he knew what he was doing. And there's this other phone call, which is very convincing, like, emotion. Like, if that's the thing that people are so into, like, seeing Amber being truly emotional, there's this phone call where she talks about him maybe killing her by accident. And that's what she thought was gonna happen in Australia, and that makes sense, because that trip ended with him, you know, writing all these menacing notes with his blood. So you're someone, like, you don't know what they're gonna do, and he could have killed her. He really could have killed her. Who knows? Like, it was a bad trip. And I have to believe that it was traumatic for both of them, based on the way they both spoken about it in the tapes. And like, assuming that it is true, everything she said, assuming that it's true, I still think there's a way out of this for both of them, because, like, I don't want to, like, judge him based on his actions in a nervous breakdown. If he just didn't know what he was doing, if he really didn't know what he was doing, I don't want to judge that too harshly. But the other stuff, I think he needs to take responsibility for some of the other stuff that he did, because some of it, I don't think it was, like, total blacked out states. Like, I don't believe it was all completely, that he had no awareness at all in some of it, because there's some where he's speaking in coherent sentences. So it's different from what happened to Australia. So stuff like that, I think he should just own up to it and say that he did it. Like the headbutting thing, he admits to it, but then he's, like, downplaying what it was. And he should just, like, say the truth, because it's getting ridiculous. And before all this, like, based on those tapes, my general read was that they were both kind of decent people. And with Amber, like, cards on the table, like, I like Amber. I really like how she came across on the tapes. I thought I enjoyed the direct way that she was speaking to him. I don't think she needs to change anything about herself. I think she's good just the way she is. In particular, that one bit where she said, where she was saying to him, I tell you exactly what I mean. And she kept saying, I don't need you or anyone twisting what I say, because I tell people exactly what I mean. And that's the troubling thing. Like, people keep twisting what she's saying and saying, you mean this and this and this. And when I listen to her, she does tell people exactly what she means. She's very, very direct and very honest. And then with Johnny, he's not very honest. He keeps talking. He's the main culprit for talking in circles, um, and making things go badly. Like, that's, I don't think Amber's doing the things that don't make sense. He's the one that's doing things that don't make sense. And speaking of, like, him, running away and hiding during a verbal fight, people keep normalizing that he does that, but I don't think it's different from what people might think it is in their mind. They think it's just him getting space to cool off, but that's not what it's sounding like to me. I think it doesn't really make a lot of sense. This isn't normal behavior for most people. They don't typically, most couples don't do that in a fight. And his constant manipulation tactics with like the hip punching thing, like, that's, he tricked her. He really tricked her, I think, because she couldn't remember what he was saying. He does over exaggerate certain things. Like, I think that might have been the issue. Like, certain things, they just don't sound right to me. When I really think about it, like, it just doesn't make sense for someone to act the way that he does. And maybe Amber's the only one, like, who called it out and said, this, what you're doing doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And they have this conversation where she talks about how much she loves his brain, but that he has these quirks, and all she wants from him is she doesn't need him to stop doing what he's doing. All she's saying is he needs to explain to her what are the exact things that annoy him and make him want to leave. Just describe what the issue is. And I think if you were to describe what it is, they're probably like teeny tiny things that sound stupid when you say it out loud. And Amber's the same way, and that's why they had things in common. And she understood him, but she just needed him to describe those little things that made him upset. And who knows what they are. He needs to, like, think about it and figure that out in the future. But there's little things that it seems to set him off, that he doesn't know how to communicate it with her. And she's not telling him to stop what he's doing or anything like that. She just needs him to explain what the issue is, and he wasn't doing a good job in explaining what the issue is. And, like, when you look at their fights, and if she's a bad person for, like, speaking to him the way she is, like, sometimes people think that she's berating him and da-da-da-da, but she was always like that. She's always been like that, I think, with everyone. She always speaks to people like that. And it's not a problem to speak to people like that. If they don't mind it, it's not an issue. And for me, I've never had an issue with someone speaking to me the way Amber speaks, because at least you understand what's going on. At least someone's telling you what their problem is, and you're clear with what they need. But then with Johnny Depp, he's kind of difficult to deal with sometimes, because he doesn't want to say exactly what his issue is. And his problem solving techniques, they just don't make any sense. And it's kind of it's like childish. Like, the way he displaces the blame on Amber is childish at this point, because she's not in control. He's in control, and he's not taking control. And I think there's other instances where it's unclear who's telling the truth, but there seems to be a pattern where he keeps doing that, and he's never specific. He's never saying the specific thing, and she needs to know what the specifics are. So I definitely favor Amber. I don't think she needs to work on herself. I think she's fine just the way she is. What's her problem? I don't see what her problem is. even if she says a mean word to him here and there, she just does. She would stop saying the mean words to him if he explained to her that he found those words to be mean. But he doesn't. Like from the very beginning, that thing they come in a they knowingly called him an old man because they understood the age difference. So that wasn't an issue. That was always a thing from the very beginning, I thought, because of the way things started off with them. So it's not really an insult, I don't think. And suddenly she's being seen as a bad person for speaking that way, but I don't think she's ever changed. I think she's always been the way she is, and she's always been exact in how she explains herself, and it's good. I think it's really good the way she does it. And but Johnny Depp needs to work on it. And I'm willing, like, for the future, if it really upsets him, if these words really do hurt his feelings, then people should, like, just stop using those words. Like, it's not difficult. If you communicate what your issue is, it's very easy to, like, get people to stop. If the son wrote this wife beater thing, couldn't you just say, I don't like this term. This term is not nice because da da da, and then maybe that would be a way to deal with it. Like, you don't need Amber's help to deal with this thing. Don't say that it's all a lie. Don't say nothing is true. That's not the way to handle things. Just say, I don't like this word. This word, it's mean. I think this word is mean. Don't say this word. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Even if it sounds stupid, there's nothing wrong with just saying. If it upsets you that much, just say it. Amber tells you all the stupid things that upset her. And it's fine. Like, it's completely fine to do that. So when it comes to, like, ending this whole thing, like, peaceful, like, if that's what you want to do, I have an idea. So, like, on that phone call, he was, like, trying to get Amber's help, and like I said, he doesn't need her help. And he was saying to her, like, they're calling me a wife beater. Don't you care about that? And my son's being asked about it. Don't you care about that? And she was just kind of silent on the other side. And for me, I just feel like she also said to him, like, the people called her a liar and a gold digger, but she just dealt with it. And he's like, you're pushing me into, like, taking it to court. Like, the court is the only option. And I just want to be clear that the court is not the only option, because another thing he could have done is just, like, sit back and do nothing. Like, that would have been the superior option. This newspaper says something. It says a mean word directed to him. He doesn't need to take action. He doesn't need to do anything. He could just, like, leave it alone. And I think this is, like, if you don't believe he's a domestic abuser, this is kind of one of those things. Like, that's what she said. Like, the tattoo story. Like, he gets set off by, like, a teeny word, and she's talking to him, and he's like, why can't you just, like, deal with it yourself? Why can't you sit back and do nothing? I just kind of, with the gold digger and this and that, I just kind of dealt with it my own way. Why can't you do that? And then it's the same. It's just like, oh, you still have that same problem where you have that instinct to like attack in response, like when really that's not the best way to fight. You shouldn't. Some things, it's not worth the fight. And if you just take the wife beater label would have just, like, moved along easily. Like, it didn't need to be something he had to start a fight over. So it's confusing, like, why he decided to do that, and it's not been good for him. Like, he keeps losing these cases, and she's just like, this is how he became a wife beater in the first place. He needs to, like, just, like, suppress that instinct. Just, like, walk away, man. Walk away, like, right now. Just, that's what he should have done. He's like, we need to, if we end it in, Like he just need to end it in peace. It's up to him to just like walk away, do nothing. That was what he should have done. But instead, this fighting back over things that doesn't make sense. It's just and trying and convincing people that what he's doing makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And this is the thing that made him a domestic abuser for real. Like, this is the evidence. Like, when you take someone to court for defamation of character for suffering like this, that to me is proof that he's a domestic abuser. I don't need to see bruises on her. I don't need any of that. This is the proof, because his actions don't make sense. And that's the thing that made people think he was innocent, was that he didn't want to go to court. He didn't want to get a vindication in the courtroom. That's what made him look innocent in the first place. But now that he's fighting back, he doesn't look innocent anymore. And you can see all the ways he's really, really not innocent. And then when I look at the thing that Amber wrote, like the message of her op-ed, I read it, it was good. I thought it was lovely. It was lovely. It was a nice message. And in it, she never said people should have, like, he should have suffered more consequences than me. He should have been fired. She never said any of that. She tells people exactly what she means. She tells people exactly what she means. Like, her dad was a domestic abuser, and she has a good relationship with him. Johnny Depp's parents were as well, and he kind of had an okay, I don't know. But a lot of people know domestic abusers, and they're not evil people. No one said fire them. No one told you go fire them. No one said that. What she's saying is, don't blame me. Don't harass me because I stepped up and said something about this, because I wanted to get out of a dangerous situation. Don't bully me. Don't make it difficult for people like me to say something. And now there's all these things where people are like, what about his kids? What about his family? She's ruined his reputation. Well, no, she didn't. He can fix his reputation easily just by taking responsibility. But for her, it's 2022, and people are like, she's a seductress, she's stolen from Vanessa, da da da. And she ruined this man, like acting like this man doesn't have his own agency. He can't make good decisions for himself, and she's the one to blame. It makes absolutely no sense. The attitude makes absolutely no sense in 2022. And she acting like Amber has all this power when no one listens to the stuff she says. No one is listening to the things she says, and it's so infuriating because she makes so much sense. And I don't like acting like Johnny Depp is this powerless guy who needed people to come in and like help him, like to out his victimhood, his own victimhood. People came out of the woodworks trying to do that for him. And if you listen to either of these people, Johnny Depp said he's done whoring himself out for you people. He doesn't want to do pirates. He's sick of it. He's so sick of it. He's having more fun playing the guitar, doing art. He's fine. He's completely fine. That's what. Why get involved? These people were fine. He doesn't need to like get back into showbiz. That's why he's doing career suicide right now. It's because he doesn't care about going back. He doesn't want to be in, like, he doesn't need to do these things. And if you like, I don't know if people will hire him again after this, but he can do his own stuff. He can like create his own movies if he wants to. If he can make Titanic in a bathtub, the thing that he wanted to do. He can do all of that. He doesn't need anyone to help him. And it's just crazy. Like, no one needs to blame Amber. Didn't stop anything. He was fine. People just like need to, and in the future, like if people are gonna get upset with Amber when she wins this thing, and say like he can't work now, just like let him. If he wants to work, let him work. Because it's not worth it to risk Amber's safety at the end of this. So, no one cares. Like, if he wants to work, no one said fire him. She said herself, like, I hope we can both move on at the end of this whole thing. and she means it. So she always means what she says. She says exactly what she means. And she says, I hope me and Johnny can both walk away from this thing fine at the end of this whole trial.